Welcome viewers, I'm Christine Wanjiru. President Mwai Kibaki ended his 3-day campaign in Western Province by cautioning voters not to gamble with leaders who promised big things but could not deliver. He also embarked on a door-to-door campaign. The president surprised the residents when he disembarked from his vehicle and entered a homestead in Sango village on the Bungoma-Webuye Highway in Bungoma East District. Accompanied by the First Lady Lucy Kibaki, the president walked into the compound of a surprised 52-year-old Rosemary Namalwa, who welcomed them to their humble home.
Bwana yanga alikufa mwaka wa 91. Nimekaa na watoto vizuri kupitia kwa matunda yako.
Wote watasoma.
Wamesoma, mwingine yuko university.
Oh, good.
Nipe nguvu, alafu nikuombee maisha mema.
Wewe tuombee maisha mema.
Pamoja na mama yangu Lucy. Nimefurahi sana mama. Asante mama.
Later, he addressed a crowd that gathered at Malava town before addressing another at Bungoma Kitale Junction near Webuye town.
Kazi ya kuinua nchi hii. Tuinue nchi hii. Tafadhali, kwa sababu hakuna njia nyingine.
Addressing a public rally at Matisi grounds, Kibaki thanked the party leaders who united behind the Party of National Unity to support his election. Kenyans have been challenged to take charge of formation of political parties in order to improve their ownership and performance of these political parties. This was said today by various political analysts who were attending a conference on the way forward for democracy in Kenya. The analysts say that the current trend in information of political parties was not healthy. This is because they are formed to cater for the interest of the elite leaders. Professor Nico Njohi said that none of the political parties had any political value and they did not put the interest of the common mwananchi first.
I'm sure you can see by the way political parties who are forming coalitions are negotiating. Have you had any negotiating on what should be done for the nation or what should be done for themselves individually? It is always individually. What position shall I get? But not what will happen to the nation.
He said that with current trend in information of coalition would end up giving Kenyans a weak central government with a weak system of governance. He said the coalitions are being formed not based on issues, but on who gets what in terms of power and resources.
And we're going to be faced with the paralysis, governmental paralysis at one of these days. How shall we move forward? Then the government policy and decisions to be increasingly negotiated will have to be negotiated at the risk of delays and good measure of governmental paralysis from time to time.
Professor Peter Wanyande said that should the trend continue, Kenyans in future might have to depend on a federal system of government in order to survive. He said the political parties bill should have amendments to regulate the formation of political parties and curb the movement of leaders from one party to another.
We'll have less room of parties to go and pay, and instead will be forced to seek their rights internally from the few parties that will be existing.
The conference, which was organized by the Agency for Development, Education and Communication, was held at Nairobi Safari Club. Members of the civil society today made demands for a proper CDF Act that would ensure proper management of the fund and full accountability from CDF committees. They threatened to call for mass action throughout the country if mechanisms for proper governance were not put in place.
Speaking at a press conference in Nairobi, the program's coordinator of Muslims for Human Rights, Muhuri, Hussein Khalid, said there have been numerous reports of widespread abuse and mismanagement of CDF funds.
This is the opportunity for Kenyans to unite to ensure appropriate laws are passed to implement the same. In addition, the CDF Act itself raises two fundamental constitutional concerns of governance. The first being that of conflict of interest, where the legislature, which made and passed the Act, is both the maker of the law and the executor of the CDF projects.
He further claimed that the role of members of parliament in the execution of CDF was conflicting. The Societies Against Parliamentarians moved to further abuse Kenyans' rights and bestow on themselves unconstitutional powers under the CDF Act.
As civil society, we are against the move by parliamentarians to further abuse the rights of Kenyans and bestow on themselves unnecessary and unconstitutional powers under the CDF Act. Kenyans must guard against misuse of their resources through these MPs who continue to bequeath themselves Kenyans' hard-earned taxes through hefty salaries, send-off packages, and now CDF resources.
Although many have praised development projects brought about by the CDF, there have been many cases of complaints of misuse of these funds by MPs.
Welcome to the money market. In today's agriculture sector, Unilever Tea Limited gained a shilling to trade at 68 shillings. Rare Vipingo and Sasini lost 25 cents and 30 cents respectively to trade a share at 21.50 and 18.40 respectively. Commercial and services segments saw Nation Media Group down 21 shillings to close at 291 shillings, with Scan Group also losing 50 cents to settle at 28. Kenya Airways and CMC Holdings closing at 74 shillings and 17.50 respectively, recorded 50 cents and 45 cents gains respectively. In the finance and investment sector, NIC Bank gained a shilling to close at 190 shillings, while Kenya Reinsurance were the day's biggest movers of 5.94 million shares, trading a share at 17 and 60 cents. Diamond Trust Bank, Jubilee Insurance and Equity Bank were the sector's losers of 10, 5 and 3 shillings respectively. Moving on to the industrial and allied segment, British American Tobacco gained 4 shillings to trade at 155, with East African Portland Cement also up 3 shillings to settle a share at 134 shillings. Athi River Mining, Bamburi Cement and Kenya Power and Lighting Company were on the losing end, losing 9, 5 and 4 shillings respectively to trade at 94, 195 and 255 shillings respectively. In the currency exchange rates, $1 was buying at 67 Kenya shillings and 2 cents and selling at 67 Kenya shillings and 14 cents. The sterling pound exchange at a mean rate of 135.15 to the shilling buying at 135 Kenya shillings and selling 28 cents higher. The euro buying at 93 Kenya shillings and 61 cents, sold at 93 shillings and 87 cents.